जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 39. So here, if you want to chant, you can pull it out on your phones.
Anybody else needs Gita? You're getting Can you repeat the page number?
Page 684. So, yeah, chapter 18, verse 39. So, please repeat after me. यद अग्रे चानुबंधे च सुखम मोहनम आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम तत् तामसम उदारितम यद अग्रे चानुबंधे च सुखम मोहनम आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम तत्तामसम उदारितम यद अग्रे चानुबंधे च सुखम मोहनम आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम तत्तामसम् उदारितं यद् अग्रे चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम् तत्तामसम् उदारितम्. Anyone would like to chant? यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम् तत्तामसम् उदारितम्. यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम् तत्तामसम् उदारितम्.
यदग्रेण चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहम् आत्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम् तत्तामसम् उदारितम्.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, so we'll do word by word. Yad, that which. Agre, in the beginning. Cha, also. Anubandhe, at the end. Cha, also. Sukham, happiness. Mohanam, illusory. Atmanah, of the self. Nidra, sleep. Alasya, laziness. Pramad, and illusion. Uttam, produced of. Tat, that. Tamasam, in the mode of ignorance. Udaritam, is said to be. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness and illusion, is said to be the nature of ignorance. Purport: one who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mode of darkness, ignorance, and one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in the mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness either in the beginning or at the end. For the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning and at the end distress. But for the person in the mode of ignorance, there is only distress both in the beginning and at the end. Om Adnyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Mitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation once again. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. So I think a couple of weeks ago, Naveen Prabhu talked about happiness in the mode of goodness, and today I'll try to speak about happiness in the mode of ignorance. So, as I think many of you already know, there are three gunas in this material nature: Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun, which is mode of goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So, the happiness in the mode of goodness, or people that are in the mode of goodness, usually are very pious. They like to do like a lot of charity work. They are kind, tolerant. So all the godly qualities are in them. Whereas someone in the mode of passion, they're passionate, maybe about achieving their goals or making a lot of money. And someone in the mode of ignorance, as Prabhupada points out in the purport, takes pleasure in laziness or sleep. So they're not really inclined to do whatever work they're supposed to do, and they take pleasure in sleeping. Like in the modern world, it's pretty common that people go to sleep at 3 in the morning and then wake up at noon. But we see in the Vedic times, they used to go to sleep early in the night, and they would wake up at Brahma Muhurat, because it's said that the mode of goodness is dominant during that time. So that is the best time to do your sadhana. So that includes chanting or Mangalarti. So someone in the mode of ignorance takes pleasure in things that are not really pious or lead to the degradation of the soul. So like one is excessive sleep, another can be laziness or neglect of duty. So one example that we can say is Arjun, when he said that he will not fight, instead he'll just leave everything and go. So Krishna said, where is this illusion arising in you? Because that's not his dharma. His dharma was to fight. So when he surrendered to Krishna, he asked him to fight for him and to surrender to Krishna. Another example could be eating food that is not really not pure, or not in the sattva gun, which might include meat, eggs and so on. Another example is intoxication. Someone in the mode of ignorance, they think there's pleasure in drinking alcohol or taking different kinds of intoxicants. For example, people, when they take alcohol, they're illusioned. They're not really conscious about the activities, and they think that they're having a great time. But in reality, they're just not conscious about anything. How can someone have a great time when they're not even conscious of what they're doing? So it doesn't really make sense. People in the mode of ignorance, they take pleasure in these things. They think having alcohol and lying on the side of the street is happiness. But someone who's woken up so to say, and in knowledge, they know that there is no happiness in this. Just like Srila Prabhupada mentions, for someone in the mode of ignorance, there is no happiness in the beginning or at the end. For someone in the mode of passion, they might have some happiness in the beginning, like if they're passionate about some goal that they have, and they're working towards it. There might be some happiness when they achieve that goal, but they quickly realize that after achieving that goal, it doesn't hit the same, or the happiness that they thought it would give, it doesn't give it. So for happiness in the mode of passion, the nature of it is, in the beginning, it might give you some kind of happiness, but then later it will always end in distress. And another examples could be just wasting time, is just sitting idle, not doing anything. Some of the harsh, I would say, examples would be violence, or committing violence towards other souls, which can include things like killing or hurting someone, could be mentally or physically. And some people, they might like to do that, so it's pretty common that they're in mode of ignorance. And just because someone is in the mode of ignorance doesn't mean that they don't have any traces of mode of passion or goodness in them. Every soul in this material nature has all three, but it's about which mode is more dominant in the present time. Sometimes it could be goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. So just because someone is in the mode of ignorance right now doesn't mean that maybe some time later they're still in the mode of ignorance. They might be in the mode of passion or in the mode of goodness. And there are many examples in the Shastras where someone was in the mode of ignorance and then not only went to the mode of goodness, but went to Shuddha Sattva, which is pure goodness, or in other words, became a pure devotee of Krishna. Can anyone think of such examples? Someone who was... Yeah? Yeah, Jagai Madhai examples, then Valmiki. So recently we had Ram Navami, and I think last week, on Saturday, the topic was all the pastimes of Ram. So as you know, or as we know, the great sage Valmiki, he wasn't always very saintly, so to say, because in the past he was actually a robber, and he was notorious for it. He used to dwell in this forest, and anyone who would pass through the forest, he would either rob them or kill them, and he took pleasure in it. But luckily, once he ran into Narad Muni. Now, the Narad Muni, sometimes it's portrayed that he is just roaming around and instigating fights, or hearing what this side is saying and then saying it to others, or the other side, and just making sure that they're always quarreling. But it's not true at all. When you actually read the Shastras, you see Narad Muni is actually a very pure devotee of Krishna, who's just roaming in the entire universe, freely distributing the love of Godhead to everyone that he meets. There are so many examples in Shastras where someone ran into Narad Muni and they became pure devotees, even if they were in the mode of ignorance. Now one of them is Valmiki. And there are other examples as well, like Prahlad, there is Dhruv Maharaj, even the compiler of Vedas, Vedavyas, his guru was Narad Muni. So Valmiki, Narad Muni instructed him to chant the name of Lord Rama, but he couldn't do it. He was so much under the sinful reactions or sinful activities that he couldn't do it. So he started chanting Mara, which literally means death or die. And as he was chanting Mara, 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 it actually became Ram. So he was chanting Mara, but in reality he was getting the results of chanting Ram. So activities performed in devotion or with intention of pleasing the Lord, even if they're not perfect, they can still yield the results or good results. Just like we see in the case of Valmiki. He was chanting Mara and he got the result of chanting Ram. So Krishna is very merciful, and he's always looking out about how these souls in the material world can render service to me and come back to me, back to Godhead. So even if someone is unintentionally performing some kind of devotion or devotional activity to Krishna, he accepts it. If one example could be, let's say today's Saturday, let's say someone decided to go to Pacific Beach and they drove down Grand Avenue, went to the beach, maybe went in the water, played, and then while going home, they went through the Garnet Avenue, which is on the other side, and they went home. That's actually counted as a pradakshina. Krishna will actually think of it as a pradakshina, even though that wasn't the intention. The intention was to go to the beach and have some fun. But just because they went to the Grand Avenue, made a circle, and went back home from Garnet Avenue, that's counted as a pradakshina or circumambulation. So devotional activities performed unintentionally can give good results, and what to say of when you're performing it intentionally. But this is not the case for other things or material things. Just like we can worship demigods for material results or material things, but there's no guarantee that it can give you the results. One of the examples we see in Shastras is Vritrasur. Has anyone heard the pastime of Vritrasur before? So Vritrasur is actually a demon. So there was this demon king called Vishvarupa, and he used to do fire sacrifices. He was actually a Brahman, and he would do fire sacrifices and give oblations to all the demigods. But since he was from the demon side, or a demon king, he would also secretly give oblations to the demons. So the demons were also getting strength through him. And when Indra found out about this, he decided to kill Vishvarupa, and he did that. So Vishvarupa's son, who was Tvashta, he decided to take revenge. So in order to take revenge, he started this fire sacrifice where he would chant some mantras, and from the fire will arise a demon who will kill Indra. So he starts the fire sacrifice, and this would be considered a fire sacrifice for material things, which is also called karma kanda. And it's very strict, because even a small mistake in chanting the mantras can give different results, which actually happened in this case. So the mantra that he was going to chant was Indra Shatru Vardhasva, which means Indra, Shatru is enemy, Vardhasva means born or arise. So the mantra was chanted rightly, but in the wrong accent. Now imagine you're chanting the name of Krishna or Ram in the wrong accent, and you're getting the opposite results. It's pretty scary. So karma kanda, because he chanted Indra Shatru Vardhasva, he stressed the Shatru part when he was supposed to actually do the opposite. Instead of being being killer of Indra, it became killed by Indra. So when this big demon was born from the fire sacrifice, instead of him being the killer of Indra, he was going to be killed by Indra, just because the accent, or just because he stressed on the wrong part of the sentence. So that's Karmakanda Yajna. And when Vritrasur was born, he was actually killed by Indra because of this wrong pronunciation, or not even pronunciation, wrong accent, or just wrong sound that he produced. So, but Vritrasur was actually a devotee of the Lord. So, Bhagavatam usually doesn't really follow the normal, or like there are gods, demons, the gods are good, demons are bad. In this case we see the demon was actually more glorious than God or Indra. Vritrasur is actually glorified more than Indra because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. So in his past life he was a devotee, but due to some reasons he became a demon. But anyway, because he was Krishna's devotee, in the end he went back to Krishna. So there is no loss or no bad results from devotional activities, even if you're in the opposite side, so to say. Just like one of the examples is Bhishma. Even though he was fighting in the opposite side of Krishna, he was still glorious just because he was a devotee of Krishna. So all perfection can be attained just by becoming a devotee of Krishna or pure devotee of the Lord. If someone were to ask you how you would define perfection, would anyone like to volunteer how you would define that? Or what is perfection for you? So the Shastras give the conclusion that perfection is to become a devotee of Krishna. Or the definition of perfection is to become a devotee of Krishna. And we can see that in so many examples in Shastras. And in this age, in the age of Kali Yuga, Krishna actually descends in his Nam or Namarup. There is this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that says, Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatar Nam Hoite Haya Sarva Jagat Nishtara, which means in this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. So there is no loss in devotional service. Just like if we perform some material activity and we maybe leave our body while we are in the middle of doing that, let's say we're trying to build a building or a house, and we're halfway through and then we leave the body. In our next life, we're not going to start from there. But devotional service is actually never, devotional service is never lost. So if in this lifetime you perform maybe 30% of devotional service, in next life you'll start from 31. And this is exclusive just for devotional service or bhakti. So it only makes sense to perform devotional service, to perform bhakti. Like Krishna instructs in the Bhagavad Gita that you just have to become my devotee. That's the conclusion of all the Shastras. Another verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita is Harir Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Naste Eva Naste Eva Naste Eva Gatiranyata, which means in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeats it 3 times, that the only way in this Kali Yuga is to chant the holy name of the Lord, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, thank you. I would like to open it for any questions, suggestions or comments. So, does anyone have any question?
uh, spelling in a different accent has created a different tone and also created trouble for one, whereas Valmiki was unable to even pronounce and pronounced it in the flip side. How do you explain this contrast between Valmiki and the Vritasur?
That's a really nice question. So, the intention matters. See, when the intention is for personal gain or some material thing in this material world, you have to be really strict about it, and even a little mispronunciation can give you different results. But when Krishna is so merciful that when we're performing spiritual activities or activities for Krishna, he takes it lightly, and he looks at the intention, he looks at our heart instead of how we're trying to pronounce it. Just like if a little child, when children are little, they don't know how to talk. They might talk in gibberish language, but it's really amusing for the parents, even if it's gibberish. It's the similar way, since we are all parts and parcels of Krishna being the Supreme Father, even if we are not able to perform in the right way, he still takes it lightly and accepts it. Would that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Maybe.
What other examples are there of accidental service? You mentioned circumventing the temple. Are there any other examples of that? Of
Yeah.
performing service?
Yeah. So, if there's a Sankirtan party going on and you hear, that's benefit for you. So when we are going down the road, even if they don't know what we're chanting, because the words are going in their ears, they're getting the benefit for that. Or one of the example is the Rath Yatra. Were you there for the Rath Yatra that we recently had? So it is said, whoever walks in front of or behind the Rath is actually delivered from this material world. And there were so many people that probably had no clue what this Rath Yatra or who the deities are. But just because they were walking in that parade, they benefited from that. So that's another unintentionally done devotional service.
You were mentioning that aiming for many material goals is in mode of passion. But what if you are aiming it towards Krishna? For example, you want to work at office to earn money, but your ultimate motive is to donate it towards the temple. How would you put this? Is it in mode of goodness or is it sattva?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there's this yoga called Karma Yoga, where he says, perform the activities for me and don't worry about the results. I think it's pretty famous. Karma karo, phal ki chinta mat karo, which means do the whatever duty you have and don't worry about the results. Just surrender the results onto me. So it is actually Karma Yoga, which Krishna says is in the Shuddha Sattva. It's not in the mode of passion because you're not doing it for yourself. As long as you have you have intentions of personal gain, it's in the mode of passion. But if you're doing it for Krishna, that's what bhakti is all about. It's not about stopping everything. Just like the Nirakarvadis, they want to stop all activities. They want to have no desires, and they think that's liberation. But how can we be desireless? So it's not about being desireless, but how we can sublimate all the desires in service of Krishna, and that's bhakti. So you don't have to leave everything and become or go to Himalayas and stay in the mountains. You can do whatever job you have and just do it for Krishna, and that changes everything. I hope that answers your question.
And I have one more question. You were mentioning that everybody has all the three modes in them. It's just at certain instances they are showing one mode at like more than other. But then how do you practice to be always in Sattvagun, the mode of goodness?
So the Shastras have a lot of has mentioned a lot of things that are in the mode of goodness. So as long as you're following the Dharma, you're said to be in the mode of goodness. So just like waking up early in the morning. So there's the sadhana bhakti, which means following all the rules and regulations. So anyone who is, just to put it plainly, anyone who is following the rules and regulations of Shastras is said to be in the mode of goodness. And anyone who is not is probably in the mode of ignorance. Just like there are 4 regulative principles that we follow, which is no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling. So, because these things are said to be in the mode of ignorance and passion. But since we are trying to be in the mode of goodness, and not only be in the mode of goodness, but transcend even mode of goodness. One example is if there is a ship and it has 3 anchors. No matter how much you row the boat, it's not going to go because there are 3 anchors. So these 3 anchors are Satagun, Rajagun and Tamogun, mode of ignorance, passion and goodness. So you have to transcend all these 3 and be in Shuddha Sattva, or all the 3 anchors have to be gone in order for the ship to cross the ocean or this material existence.
And also that if somebody is working, he's like tired and he is not able to wake up in the morning, and is he not in mode of goodness, or how?
Yeah. So it's not a black and white question, or it's a suggestion. So if we try to wake up early in the morning, the chances that we develop Satagun or the mode of goodness are greater compared to if you're waking up maybe late in the morning. That doesn't mean that someone who's waking up late in the morning is not in Satagun. They very well could be. But it's recommended that you wake up early in the morning.
How to go in Shuddha Sattva?
Harir Nama, Eva Kevalam. Chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. And that will attain all perfection.
Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Aditya, for the wonderful talk. And the debuts